Today's guide demonstrate the process of importing your Clo3D garments complete with animation into Blender. We'll be using the rose dress I already created as our example. First of all, we want to make sure that all of our patterns are not frozen and all of them are activate. Another thing we want to make sure is that we don't need any box select here on the dress because it doesn't show through the process of the animation. Another thing we need to go is to check the UV editor. As you can see, all of my patterns and all of my fabrics are completely over each other. Right now, I need to reset UV to 2D arrangement and then go with this option. This option allows us to put every single of our fabric into a one square shape, and it can do it very, very fast and easy, and it doesn't waste any space over here. If you're not familiar with what is UV or what UV does, more bigger, more things to show. It means if we put all of our stuff, scaling down and make them undersized, the quality of the fabric or the graphic or whatsoever you already added, it's quite low. And we don't want that happen, so that's why I already use this button. You can also do it manually, but I prefer this way. Another thing, after UV editor, we need to go to animation and okay. I already import animation from Mixamo, and let's give it this one. You don't need to change anything here, okay? And right now, if you notice already, it's set to custom. Simulation quality is set to custom, which we don't like at all. The garment moves too much during the action that are not possible in real life and frequently resulting in collision, at least in my experience. So we don't want that happen, and most of the time I set this to a stable. However, you can set this to a stable like 10, but now it's 5. And I think we're set. And go, press the button, record. Simulation, the animation completely depends on your computer. And for someone is super fast, for someone is like normal. I want to take this moment and ask you guys, if you find this tutorial helpful, can you please share it or at least give it a thumbs up. If you go and subscribe me, that would be great. You are my super fan. Let's ensure everything is in order as we want to avoid issues like trembling fabric or distorted patterns. Let's set current frame to 0 and now let's see. It seems everything's fine. If any problems arise, you can always resimulate in 3D and record the process once more. However, I'm satisfied with how it turns out. Now, let's proceed to export this as an Alembic file. So go to the file, export, and export as an Alembic. Alembic Ogawa. And let's this one. Oh, I set the scale to meters, and I want to take unified UV coordinates. Absolutely. Now include avatar. If you want your animation to come without any avatar, but with animation of the garment, you can always untick this one and it comes out without any avatar over it. But if you want it as an avatar, you can include the avatar. And the scale should be set to meters. And I always want to play region only. And okay. Let's switch over to Blender. I'm using version 3.6. Typically, when you open a new Blender file, you'll find three default objects. If you're new to this, one of these is a cube, which I'll remove by selecting it and hit delete on the keyboard. And then navigate to File, choose Import and Alembic ABC. Find your file and import Alembic. It's here. And let's see. We always can delete a frame that we don't want by limiting the animation. Look, can you see this part? Which I don't know what's happening here. I kind of going to delete this, so my frame will start here from 30. How about that? And now it seems quite nice. Okay, and now if you see over here, we have different viewports, which this one is a modeling viewport. And I'm switching to the render view, but in render view, all the time you have to get a very proper light, which it seems our light doesn't work quite good. So Shift A and go to the light area and G on the keyboard. When you want to move anything on Blender, you have to press G on keyboard and Z and S for scaling it, and then go over here to set the power to 300. And now if you see our avatar or our garment doesn't have any texture or fabric, I want to always set my render engine to cycles. Cycles, it's much realistic than EV, and set this to GPU because I have GPU. If you always have GPU, always prefer GPU to CPU. And now I'm going to showcase you how you can texture your garments. How we can do this is that if you see over here, we have one avatar and we have a cloth parent. In cloth parent, when you choose it and go over here, material tab, and set this to shading. Let me show you. Okay. Let's add new. And now what we need is to go to file and export this as an OBJ because we want the material as well. In any case, if you want to change your material on the garment, it's completely possible. But if you want to change the particle distance of the size of the fabric, it's not possible because you have to go over all the process. We had the other way, instead of importing it as an OBJ, you can easily hover over to UV editor, and as you can see, these are different kinds of UVs. This is normal map and texture map all over stuff. By clicking on this one, we can bake textures, and then whichever texture you need, just take it here, and here you have to save here and save and save. Okay, and now close. Now what I need you to do is that on the edit menu, preferences, go to add-on and search over here Wrangler. Yeah, this one should be ticked. Node Wrangler. Start with silent W and then close it. I also want to change the name of the material to the fabric, and now click here, and on your keyboard Control Shift and T at the same time. Let's find a folder. I usually click on one of them and press Shift on the keyboard and choose the last one, Principal Texture, and now you should be able to see the textures. Okay. One thing that I did to showcase something with you guys is that most of the time I had problem with the transparent fabrics or lace, and I didn't know how should I do it. So right now I also have two transparent, completely opacities set to 0, and but it appears here as a black one. You can do two things. One of them is to under the material tab, set the viewport display blend mode, set it to alpha blend, and shadow mode, set it to alpha hash. Most of the times this technique going to work, but if it doesn't work at all, you may think, okay, I can go to the alpha and set this to 0. But as soon as you set this to 0, you can see all the things disappears, because this is not some sort of materials that comes alone. This is a total for Blender. This is a total this is a one fabric. This is not several fabrics. So remember, if you have transparent fabric, always under the material tab, set this to blend mode and alpha blend and alpha hash. If it doesn't work, you have to separate your transparent material to something else. So how we can separate it? Follow what I'm doing. I want to click on the cloth parent. Can you see the outline? And set the object mode to edit mode. The black thing, it's something that I don't want. So I click on one of them and it turns orange. As you can see, it's very little, but still you can see it. And press L on my keyboard. Now, this is where you need to make sure that whole pattern is selected. If it's not, you'll have to try this again. Go again on the material. Don't delete this at all. And press another one. New material. I'm gonna go with trans and then set to assign. And now let's get back to the object mode. Okay. This is the transparent one. And right now you can make sure that you will set the alpha to whatever you want, and also set this to alpha blend and alpha hash so you can see through. The material that you make and give to the fabric doesn't come out in blended the right way. Like the fabric I have here, it was shiny silk, as you can see, but right now is like a plastic something, and the metal part is absolutely not there at all. It's such a poor quality material. So most of the time I have to make sure that the old fabric has the same material or sometimes better material than before. So again, what you can do is that to click your cloth parent, and in the edit mode, just select some particles, set L, and come over here, assign it to another fabric. For example, you can assign this to part 1, and then go and change the fabric the way that you want. And again, this one, sign, yeah, and also the whole rows sign. And now I want to keep the fabric because I already assigned everything to part 1. Part 1, if you already have downloaded any fabric, any digital fabric on other sites, that's fine. Just go for the technique that I showed you, Control Shift and T on the keyboard. Or if you want to make the fabric like me, this is where you can choose your color. And another thing that it's so common to use that is the roughness. As soon as you put the roughness to 0, you can see loads of shininess. But if you set this to the 1, absolutely there is no shininess. You can have roughness set to 1 and also metallic set to 1. Maybe this is what you need. Oh, let me show you here. Yeah. You see, this is how you can have a very nice silky thing. But if you want to make your fabric more elegant and more realistic, just go and search on Pinterest for a normal map. Any normal map that is seamless and you feel it's gonna be used in fabric, you can use it as a normal map. Let me show you. I already have a normal map of my own, and over here I'm going to add normal map, normal to normal, and we also need a image texture and set the color to color and then open. And this is my normal map. It always should set to non-color. And sometimes you may find it is very, very big. So that's why I click on this one. And then on my keyboard, Control T. where you can scale it down. For example, you can set this to 10. No, feel big for me. How about if I set it to 30? It seems nice, isn't it? You can see the normal maps. And one more thing, if you see, you can see too much texture, you can always can manage this one to something lower. For example, this one or this one. So this was the part, the manually texture in Blender. And now it's time to get to the metal part. This is how we can a metal texture. Let's set it to this. Roughness to 0. Metallic to high. And sheen tint to also 0. And look at it. It is metal. And if you got a normal map or other stuff, if you apply on it, it seems much better than this. I'm going to give it a material that where I already downloaded. My material is set now. Avatar from Clo3D. It seems quite hard to give it a texture because it lost the UV. And if you bring in any object in Blender which doesn't have any UV, probably 100% you cannot give it a texture. So this is what we can do. We can set this to new. Most of the time I see that people in social media set this to metallic, and they most of the time they're doing like this, or they make it like a shadow. How we can make a shadow? They set it all black, or they just cover their face and give it a base color. What we can do is that I'm actually working on this. It's been a while and I couldn't find any solution. Set this to black, set the eyelashes black, this one also to black. Because the eyes are completely, I don't know why, but the eyes are completely separate, and you can give it a texture whatsoever you want. You can make it all black, you can make it all metallic, or you can do something that this is something that you have to play with it. I found the avatar's eyes texture, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this here. However, it doesn't show, but if you press Ctrl T, the mapping pops up, and it's impossible to set the vector to UV because it already doesn't have any vector. But as you can see over here through the eyes, you can see because I scale it down, it shows 4 eyes here. How about if I set this to 1? Yes. And how about if you just move it around? Yeah, there we go. We got this. We can do the same thing for also this one. Let me see. Can we set this eye or also the right one? Yes, we can. So we got the eyes. And how about the hair? For the hair, we can also add color if you wish to, or just like me, add image texture and set the color to base color. This is how you can find the avatar's texture. You need to just click on them while it's yellow. Just get down here on textures. It pops up. Let's copy and then save it where our rest of texture were, and then through the image texture find it and set it there. Okay, this is it. Sometimes if you set this to alpha, it also helps you, but it seems not this case. This is time for your avatar's lips. Go to the material preview and then press another material, set this to lip, make it red because I want to be bold to see how it turns out, and select the avatar, set this to edit mode and grab your select circle. Yeah, I want to select, oh oopsie, I don't want to be out, and then assign. Okay, what will happen if you pass the lines? Nothing happen. You don't need to go back to all the process. You just need to select it, and if this is not right tools for you, just select it like this. All that you think they are past the lines, and assign it to a whole material, the material which we have already applied the skin. We set this to object mode and go to this one. I know it's super red and you may not like that, but what you can do is to find whatsoever on Pinterest and give the normal shading to it. Set this to shading, and on the lips you can change the color of the lips. Another thing that may find it useful is that to add a color map and set it to color, and then it kind of gives you the gradients, which makes the lip more natural. You have to play around with it, with the amount and with the colors, to find the right choice for yourself. The last thing is to set a camera to find a better angle. Just hover it around with your mouse and then go to view and align camera to view, and then you have it. And go and change the size if you needed a square shape for Instagram or you need it for Reels or TikTok. You have to set it to rectangle. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, and write for how do you feel about the video. And right now, whatever you need is to set the start frame and end frame, and then go to render and render animation. Happy your very first animation with Clo3D. Thank you and bye.